Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Big Bill coming to you live from Model Railroading Live, the #1 model railroading show in the world, if not the universe, I would say. Welcome to tonight's show. We have a special guest with us tonight. Let me just adjust my screen here. We will be having on our show tonight, like I said, special guest. I think this is the first time we've ever had a husband and wife. Uh, we will be having a husband and wife model railroading couple on the railroad on the show tonight, and I'll get to them in a minute. But before I do that, I need to give you a little update. Tomorrow on what is March, April 8th. April 8th. First and foremost, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday weekend, Easter Sunday. I hope that you enjoyed it, had it with family, went to do what you had to do, went to church, the Resurrection Sunday. I hope it was all good for you. But tomorrow night, April 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be Johnny's Train Talk Show. And he'll be airing on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, you guys can be a part of it. You guys can be in it. All you need is a camera, good internet, and you can be part of it. And just mosey on down to Johnny's General Store there, pull up a chair, pull a soda out of the icebox, and sit down and talk. And if you want to do it this way too, online, instead of on the Q&A, you can get involved that way, just like I just said now. And if you have something you want to bring and brag, show something off, by all means, please do. That's tomorrow night on April 8th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have some other things in store for you in upcoming weeks and months on Model Railroading Live. We're getting together some shows with some outside help, some contributors that have come to me and to the crew and have asked if they could participate, and they have some ideas for the show. What they are, I cannot. I'm just wiping my spittle away from the screen. Sorry about that. So we have some contributors that are going to come. Right now we're in the planning phases of it, and that should be pretty good because it sounds exciting from what I heard, from the little I heard from a couple of the contributors. And so what we're doing tonight, for you guys that are coming in, I want to just give a big shout out to everybody so far who's on here. Who do we have? John Banachek. I hope I'm saying that right. Mystic Southern Railways. Curse Valley Railroad. Eric Hall's in the house. William A's in the house. Dwight of Northern Star's in the house. Scott Perry, hello from South Carolina. Hello. Mystic Southern Railway says, congratulations, Bill, on 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you. Linda McCurdy, greetings from California. And Mojave Model Railroad, my bestest buddy in the whole world, my BFF, Tina. Yeah, Bill's on. So, well, thank you guys for joining us. I just want to give you a heads up that tonight we're graced to have a husband and wife model railroading team on. Their channel is called M&M Model Railways, and it's Michael and Michelle Nicodemus. Now we have them off in the green room. I hope that they didn't eat all that leftover gasoline station sushi that we had from last week with Clint Brantley, because we actually didn't throw that. We just recycle it. So we'll bring them in. So guys, hey, I hope that sushi wasn't too bad.
Michael doesn't like sushi. So.
There you go. So all of it for you. Great. Well, thank you so much. This is Michael and Michelle Nicodemus. And Nicodemus, is that Greek?
It is Greek, yes. The name is Greek, but I'm Russian and German descent.
Russian and German, okay.
I'm Irish and Swedish and all kinds of stuff.
And I'm from Brooklyn. So it's all over. It's all over. But Michael and Michelle, thank you so much for coming on Who's Big Bill Talking To. I first and foremost want to tell you that I accidentally came across your channel. Usually I'm pursuing channels and I'm looking and Wilmer, Indian Head Valley Railroad, he's out there, he scours for his channel and he introduces new, and I get a lot of stuff from him. But I happen to be searching channel surfing through YouTube, and after I got through watching how to build oak tables out of big trees and how to organize my workbench and how I can make rivers, I just was going through and boom, I saw your channel and I was like, and I'll be quite honest, I saw Eminem, and we have another guy up in Canada, Mark, who has an Eminem channel, but different name. So I put yours on, and the one I came upon was when you're doing a mail opening, and you, Michael, was so excited to say, wait till Michelle gets home, because when Michelle gets home, she's going to look forward to opening this. So I was like, let me see this. So I watched a couple of your videos, and then that's how I opted to reach out to you. And I'm just so glad that you're, that you're part of this, that you came and that you're involved. And you're actually the first husband and wife, not that you are the first husband and wife model railroading. We have Fran and Miles Hale. We have Tom and his wife Barbara. But Michelle, I give it up to you. You're the first woman brave enough to come on camera.
Well, Michael has been filming me for a little while, so now I'm used to it.
Okay. You seem like
he's my coach.
okay, but you seem like a natural when you're on the camera. You seem like
you watch some of her beginning videos.
I kept saying
Oh, listen. In the beginning, when I started doing this, I used to do this.
Oh.
I used to do this like I was on the street corner in Brooklyn. So you got to understand what I'm trying to. So tell me, Mike, So don't we all have a beginning?
You got to let me know what you're putting down, Bill.
That's it. Look at you giving gang signs all of a sudden. Look at this. I can't believe it.
I'm a tomboy, so
I hear that.
I hung out with the guys a lot. So
So let's get back on track here. Look at this, Tina Mojave model. You should check out her channel, Mojave model. Tina is a female model railroader too. Has a beautiful HO. I'm hoping to get her on here in June. And so let's see. She says, nice to see spouses so supportive. She asked a question. Where is that? Wasn't the name? Oh, she wants to know. Wasn't the name Nicodemus from a character, Secret of Nim?
Yep. Yes. I love that cartoon.
Okay. And Eric Hall says the Wrath of Nicodemus played the computer game on my C64 in the late 80s.
And also in Labyrinth.
And Labyrinth too, yes. Also Nicodemus, the high priest.
Yep.
That comes to Jesus in the night,
yep,
to ask how to understand and to be told that you must be born again. Yep. He questions, born again? How does one become born again? And Frank DeLauro, hello. Joe G says hello all, or not you, Eric. There you go. Frank DeLauro says the camera likes you, Michelle.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. But so now you guys have been involved in model railroading for a while, and there's railroad blood that runs through your veins, Mike, I understand. So how collectively, how did you guys say, hey, let's do this. Let's build a railroad. Let's build a model railroad.
Well, we could shoot out to old Luke Cowan on YouTube for building his dioramas, and he was building a diorama with a bridge over a river, and he put it on a shelf. And of course, we have a fireplace in our living room, and we thought about that, and I says, we can get a steam train HO and we can put it on there.
And I'm like,
And then we got to thinking about what it would look like, and it would be boring just for it to sit there. So that's where it started.
and I was like, I want to run trains. I want to extend it. And Michael's like, what? Okay.
So
Okay.
while she was gone for a while visiting some family, I went and got a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood and put it on the top of the fireplace and started putting some tape out. My bar back from her brother and the locomotive and the cars we got now, and started thinking, okay, what can we do here? And that's where it started. And I realized I couldn't turn the loop and do the cars on a 2 foot by 4 foot, so it turned into a 3 by 5.
All right. And this is go ahead, Michelle. I'm sorry.
But I said, well, eventually we're going to get bored with going around. It looks like a racetrack, right? Right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
But I said, we're going to eventually get bored just going around. And I mean, we're going to have some stockyard and stuff. But I said, we're going to be getting bored. But so I said, why don't we extend it? So Michael was so shocked. He's like,
Wait a minute, Michelle. I gotta get my heart. I gotta get my blood pressure medicine. Hold that. I can't believe this. This is actually the wife of the household is acquisitioning. She's saying we need to expand.
And this is sitting in our living room, Bill.
Oh my goodness, she's a keeper. She is a keeper.
and I'm going to drill a hole for a tunnel, I'm like,
Oh, this is getting even better.
and then
Okay.
I'm going to build. Eventually, I'm going to build. When you go through the tunnel, when the train goes through, there's going to be 2 tunnels. One for a highway. This is going to be eventually, but there's one going to be for the cars, and then one's going to go for the train. So we'll have 2 tunnels or 3 tunnels.
2 tunnels for the train,
Yeah.
1 for the cars.
2 tunnels one for the train, 1 for the cars.
And then 1 for the water to come out of your dam.
Oh, yeah.
Spillway on the other
And
side.
then 1 for my waterway for the dam, because I'm going to build. It's going to be a reservoir. It's going to be called Crystal Lake, and I'm going to build all that part.
Mojave Model Railroad. Tina just said every guy watching and listening just ran to their wives and said, "You need to come and watch this video." And she's so correct. She is so correct. Yeah. So you're gonna have 2 tunnels. You're gonna have a staging yard.
4 total tunnels
Okay.
over there.
So now this is an N scale layout, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you guys are doing this in phases. I understand.
Yeah, 4 phases.
And the first phase you're in is with the one that's behind
Flats,
down.
Colorado. Yeah.
Right. And
If
it's
you want me to show you around, just let me know when.
okay. We can do that. Joe G, hearts and hugs, but no kisses unless you like Hershey kisses, Eric Hall says. N scale is the best way to go, Eric Hall says. If you get a chance, Eric lives in Arizona. These young couple live in Colorado.
I have family in Arizona.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
You should check out Eric Hall. He has an N scale layout. His is named the IMRRO.com.
Wow. Okay.
IMRRO.com. Very good layout, very good ideas, very good interaction with Eric. And
Wow.
most of these guys on here are pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, Frank DeLauro says, I already got my sledgehammer out and I'm knocking walls down. You're an inspiration, Michelle, and we're not even on 10 minutes. You're an inspiration.
Shucks.
Lynn McCurdy says, when my wife and I married, she asked about my hobbies. I said, I like model trains and cars. She said, one or the other. I said, trains. She thought it would be cheaper. So, and this, who is the one? Because let me go back because Tina asked the question. So who spends more on the railroad, Michael or you, Michelle? Oh, you.
Well, I spend more time in the background making stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right, that's good. So now,
I have a craft room / daughter's room when she comes and visits, but
Cat's room.
my cat's room. I have 2 sister cats. So
okay,
I have my little desk set up with all my supplies, and then I go, like.
Hey, Bill, I'm gonna have to step off camera for a little bit, but she's the star of the show, so I'll be back.
okay,
Like, I'll go in the bedroom and, like, for example, let me show you.
sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you guys can see this little bridge right here,
Yeah,
I made that.
okay,
Michael made this bridge here, and then hopefully I can get this. I made this bridge. Can you guys see?
right.
Let's see. Maybe I can get it this way. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. That's a long view there. We can see that. Yes, very nice. So you have.
And then I also we have little rafters in there. They're really tiny, so I put all the people in there.
Nice.
And, I made all these little pipes for the irrigation ditch. And let's see, I painted the roof to the gas station. It was just like when models come in, they're just like gray, or they just look like a model.
Uh-huh.
Well, I have model paints, so I painted the roof. So I used to build model cars. I love Corvettes, so I used to do model cars a lot.
Oh, okay. So, and Frank Delora wants to know: did the cats attack the train set, the layout?
Good question. When we first had this board up here, before anything was on there, just the board, it wasn't, like sturdy on the fireplace yet. It was just sitting on top. So,
Right.
Michael and I had to go somewhere that day, and when we got back, that board was on the floor, and everything that was on the table, just everywhere. So, and I knew what cat it was, our troublemaker cat.
Okay.
I could show you if she lets me, but her name
Don't
is
worry
Sheba.
about it.
She's a tortoiseshell cat, and she's ornery and loves to talk. And they don't go up there anymore.
Okay.
So they must have got scared.
So now you said earlier we were talking. This is 4 phases. So Canyon Flats is the first phase
That's
of this build, which is what you just showed us.
Yeah.
And then when do you come? So it's basically module sets that you're doing, right? Dwight at Northern Stars, and she also builds scale model cars. So
and I build walking sticks.
and walking sticks. She does. They both those pictures that you see behind them are paintings and reliefs, wooden reliefs that they have done. Both Michael, you guys are very, very talented and very, very crafts orientated, which is good because then you have that eye, that
model eye.
The model eye, right? That's what I was going to see. For you guys that are tuning in late or just coming aboard, we're here interviewing on Who's Big Bill Talking To. We're interviewing Michael and Michelle Nicodemus. They're the owners and operators of a YouTube channel called M&M Model Railways. You can find them on YouTube, M&M Model Railways, and they do an N scale. And we have them on simply based on the fact that they're the first husband and wife team that I've been able to get on camera. The wife, Michelle, has been nice enough to join us on the camera, and she's very, very much into model railroading. You said earlier when I was talking to you that your dad got you into model railroading as a young girl.
Yep, since I was like 2 or 3.
Really?
So,
and you would build railroads with him?
Yep. Him and I would build the models down in our basement together, and we used chicken wire back then to make the mountains and tunnels and stuff. And then we didn't have all the fancy stuff that we have nowadays, like the water resin and all that fancy stuff. So like for a lake or a river, for example, he would use my magic marker and just color it blue. So,
okay, that works.
But I grew up with HO. So when I when Michael introduced me to N scale, I was just like, oh, it's so cute. So, and then my dad would take us kids. I'm the oldest out of 5. He would take us up to places where we could ride the trains, and the steam trains, which I love.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that was just the funnest time. And then we always had a train on our Christmas tree. So I grew up with trains. So.
And Cursed Valley Railroad, Dunk asks, so Michael, what are your plans for your 150 millimeter 45-degree turnouts?
Well, I don't know if you've seen him, and I know that he follows me, but if he just joined, but Michelle just gave a tour of it, but those 45-degree turnouts go back to the cattle shipping and packing place, or the receiving place, and one of them comes off of the inside main, and then the other one goes to the cattle pickup place. So that's what I used them for.
Oh, okay.
And just in case he wants to know, those switches, basically what I wanted to do is come out of that switch and go right to the curve, because it looked better that way, but it kept derailing when it come out of the curve.
Right.
So I had to put the re-railer on the other side of my 45-degree switch before the curve, and then it worked, because it would re-rail what would come out of the my siding spur.
Okay.
And we're going to be putting in a steam locomotive, and I did not want it to derail coming out of there, because that's going to be our work train that's going to be picking up our passenger cars and our cattle cars. And then being a UP coal train engineer conductor, we're going to be putting a coal train Union Pacific on the outside loop, and it'll be running all around. And so my job as a retired or disabled engineer conductor is to teach her how to be a conductor and an engineer from the model train layout. And that takes us to our twin throttle pack that I want to get, because I want her to be able to operate a locomotive at the same time I'm operating a locomotive, and teach her to switch while I'm making sounds and doing things with the other locomotive. And then we're going to put all that on video, and that'll be our running operations.
So this was a host of a lot of questions that you just are running through my head. You're a former UP Union Pacific conductor engineer.
That's correct.
So how long did you do that?
I worked as a conductor engineer for 5 years.
Right. When you say conductor engineer, there's conductor and engineer, operator of the engine, and the conductor who is. How did that transfer? I mean, you were wearing a dual hats at the same time.
Well, it depends on how you got called to go to work, and so let me give you a little bit of history. I got a job driving an Armadillo van, which is the crew pickup van for the railroad, and I drive all over the place, and I made some pretty good friends doing that, and I found out they were hiring, and a lot of them, including a manager for the railroad, vouched for me, and of course they hired me. And so the next thing I know, I'm going to Salt Lake City to go to conductor school. And if anybody has ever been to a conductor school that doesn't know anything about trains, it's hard to pass, because you had to get an 85 to pass the classes. And so it was tough. And sometimes I had a retest on it. But I learned so much by going to conductor school that it helped me big time on my model train layouts.
Sure.
And the first time that I went to conductor school was the first big model train layout that I actually started to build. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm going to be gone for 48 hours up to maybe 72 hours, but then I can be home for 3 days at a time. So I want something to do. So I built a model train layout to do in my free time, and then I go get on a train and go to work as a cloud.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Split Rock 323 says 5 years on the Union Pacific equals to 20 years in real life.
Now let me tell you why he just said that. I was married to another woman at that time, and I was gone more than I was at home. and I just was married at that time, and so I was gone more than I was home, and so she wanted a husband instead of a roommate, you know, that was there once in a while that paid the bills. So
Right.
when he said, "Yeah, 5 years equals 20 years," let me tell you some stories about working out on the train on long hours. You get called at times out on your rest. And sometimes you get called to go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is perfect once you had a good night's sleep. But you could be awake all day long and get called to go to work at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when you try to lay down and go to sleep.
Right. Right.
And then you're trying to say, okay, how am I supposed to stay awake when the train's going down the track like that? And most of the times you fall asleep.
Sure. Ralph Renzetti wants to know which one of you guys is wearing the white hard hat, the supervisor.
As the boss?
Yeah, the supervisor. Who's
That
the
would be me.
both raised their hand at the same time.
I'm the boss normally, but he's the boss.
You raise your hand at the same time.
They did. You guys went together like this. I was like,
Well, we're equal, you know.
So
Yeah,
to make a long story short, I learned to be a conductor first because the conductor basically takes care of the train. The engineer runs the engine. And so you have to have a certain amount of hours in and a certain amount of runs in to go to engineer school. So then I applied for engineer school, and then I got in. And I'll tell you what, those quizzes, those tests that I took, 94, 100, passed in my sleep because I had all that experience as a conductor.
Sure.
And then once you're set up, you got to have so many training trips. And so I'd be out there running a train. And my engineers that were teaching me, they didn't really let me run the train that much. They must have figured, well, this guy knows everything. He can figure it out. Well, when it came to my qualifying run, I had to run the whole trip. And so I'm sitting in this locomotive running the train, and we're going 50 miles an hour, and that's the speed that I had to have. And I'm looking at the engineer that's supposed to be teaching me, trying to figure out what to do. And he's going like this, and the manager's sitting on the other side of him. And so I just took it upon myself to, just remember what I learned and what I was showed, and I operated the train, and it was fine. And I passed and got my license that day. But like the guy said, you're gone all the time, but your pay, I mean, you're making almost $100,000 a year, but you're never home.
That is true. Split Rock 323 says, we call that phone call the 3 a.m. moral builder.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So now you got railroad blood running through your veins here, and you're going now with these layouts. Are they going to be operational? You guys are going to do operational stuff. It's going to be an operating. I mean, you're going to have switch lists and everything else that goes with operating, like
Real running. Yeah, I'm actually gonna teach her how to do that. Because it's a husband and wife team, right? We have a YouTube channel, and we don't want to just do builds or unboxing surprises. I want to do operations, so I'm going to take her to conductor school first, and then I'm going to take her to engineer school. And we're actually going to make it look like the phone rang, and we're going to have the camera focused on a little cabin or a house, and it's going to be real, and we're going to make the video in a way that resembles the actual life of a railroader.
Okay, I like that. I like that. The link for your YouTube channel is M&M Model Railways. M&M Model Railways. That's their YouTube channel, and it's pretty exciting stuff here. I got to tell you, you guys are really enthusiastic, and your passion for it is really coming through. Really coming through.
It's a lot of fun. It's just, and it eases our mind because of what's going on in the world, and it's just so relaxing.
Yes.
And it's therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic. I have to say that I have said this before on my channel as well as on Model Railroading Live, that sometimes things are getting a little nuts, and you're getting a little crazy, and you walk into the train room, or like what you have there, and you start tinkering, and the next thing you know, you're like whatever the problem was doesn't seem that big, and it seems like, I always go out afterwards and say to my wife, that situation that we were talking about. I said, well, I think I got an answer to it or a solution. How about we do, and it always seems to work
Yep.
itself out.
When we're in a hurry, when our minds are in a rush, it's like you just can't figure out. Then you get that leads to frustration and anger, and then if you just calm your mind down and breathe, and then
yes,
then it's like,
yes,
yeah.
And Human City Junction says, I do like the teamwork here. He does.
Well, what's exciting about that is we are building some guardrails for our road next to our bridge. And we sat down at our kitchen table yesterday, and she's painting the railing, and I'm painting the little posts, and we're in a video doing that together. That's teamwork, when you can actually be in a video together, not fighting with each other.
Yes.
We're pretty mellow, so. And he's mellow, so we get along perfect.
And as soon as we get that done, I'm going to teach her how to pour the resin in the river, put the waves on it, and then the white water effects.
Well, I've used water resin before because I've helped my kids with projects at school. They each, like I think it was in 4th grade, they each had to build a castle. So the teachers would give them a list of stuff that had to be on the project, So I'm used to the water resin. So, but the water effects is a little different. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's good. Mojave Model Railroad, Tina asked, what does Michael and Michelle say is their strength in the hobby, and what is their weakness that they need to work on?
Strength?
I would think that our strength is our creativity as being artists. Yep. And being able to understand shadowing, detailing, depths, that perception.
That's my weakness. Because like Michael built like the mountains up here, I probably would struggle on that. But like building little models of like the bridges, for example,
right?
Or that's my territory. So I guess that would be my weakness, is like doing the details on the mountains and stuff like that.
Getting the crevices and all the rock stuff. Ralph Renzetti wants to know who chooses the colors and what to build. Together,
we choose the colors together. Like Michael will pick out some colors, and we'll decide on them together.
Well, what we did to choose the colors that we're modeling is we decided, okay, it's canyon flats. So the first part of it is a canyon. What does the canyon represent, and where is the canyon at in elements of the world? And so you see that, canyon flats are kind of like what you would see down by Arizona or towards Utah.
Let me try just a little bit.
At the top, actually sun on the that's the base color of it. That comes from videos and stuff and seeing it all come together. But that canyon wall in the back, it started out with the same Apache sun, but it has 4 other colors, 5 other colors that make it what. You got to think about which direction your sun is going to be shining in realistic life on your railroad too. Right. And that's how you do your shadowing. Come back to my weakness on the train layout. I think my weakness is the signals. N-scale signals are going to be pretty tough to put in and underneath that ridge on that canyon back there. But I want to be able to have turnout signals. So when she's running it and I happen to throw a red signal at a straight line, that means she's going to have to stop. But I'm going to have signals before that to warn her that she's got to stop at a diverging route.
Right, the block signal.
Yeah, so that to me is going to be my weakness, is because I've never done that before.
Right. Human City Junction wants to know, do you use reference photos when you're doing the mountains? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
if you watch our videos, in the videos we actually refer to the pictures that we're trying to represent, and duplicate. And recently, the guardrails, they come with a picture, so we put them on the video. And we're doing an irrigation ditch, so we found a picture of an irrigation ditch that we're trying to represent. And the hay field that we're doing will have static grass in there, and right now it's just got ground cover on there. But we're looking at it like it's the end of the hay season before they go in there to harvest the hay. So the static grass will be higher than it would be if they just started the hay season. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And what are you going to use to power this layout? Are you going to go with DCC, DC?
Yeah,
Eventually.
right now it's DC because we had to borrow that stuff, and you can't just build the track and not run the trains. You know, it would be boring. You know, so we borrowed the DC controller and the DC locomotive in the cars, knowing very well. And I've never had DCC before. And watching it on YouTube and just going to the shows and everything, I realized that that's something that I wanted to do, is get into DCC. But it's the controlling pack that we really like, is the NCC twin controller. It's got 2 throttles on there, so we can run 2 separate trains without having to click back and forth on that the other name out there,
Right.
Digitrax.
Right.
Yeah, if we could find a twin controller on Digitrax that wasn't $800, we might consider it. You know?
Well, the NCE, you could get the radio
Yeah.
one, and then you could, have the master controller on, and then you can both have, where you can operate, and then you'd be able to both control separate units as you're doing it. But that's down the road, and that's when you have to put your pennies in the coffee jar and
Right.
and wait for the sale. They usually have them, but you can get them.
But one thing about this being in our living room, we have to do certain remodel work along the way in order to build the modules that going into it. One of them is the corner cupboard back there. That display, that track is going to be running in front of it, and I want to be able to utilize my corner cupboard. So therefore, I'm going to be building a built-in corner cupboard, and then it'll still be a display case, but I won't have to put a lift-out bridge or something like that in front of it. And then
Go by the window.
and then it has to go by the window, and we'll have 3 bridges there, which we'll be building. Those are going to be 40 inches long, and then the Crystal Lake Reservoir, that's going to be a microwave cart and some drawer units underneath it.
And drilling through the wall.
Yeah, and then drilling tunnels through the wall. That's
Right.
Wall,
True, very true. See, now once we got into the power of this, now we have a dozen. Everybody's coming in. Eric Hall is saying, I would say to look into NCE Power Cab. Human City Junction, Heath says the DT62D is less than $200 and it has 2 throttles. Split Rock 323 says Digitrax gets the LNWI Wi-Fi adapter, and you can use old cell phones for a controller with the free Y throttle and stuff. So it's just a lot of it's a lot of choices. You just got to find the one that fits you guys.
Right.
Everybody's
We've watched a lot of YouTube videos with people, different controllers and stuff, but we both decided on the one that Michael picked up.
Twin controller.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is there's a plug-in in the front of it where you can expand it and put your handhelds in front of it.
Yes.
But one thing about that is you're not building a main controller underneath your layout. You're just plugging your 2 buzz lines into it. So if I decided to want to go to something different, disconnect it and put a different controller in.
That's true. Ralph Renzetti says, Michael, do you guys have cell phones? If you do, you can buy a unit for under $100 to add to the Digitrax system that allows you to use your cell phones as throttles.
Mhm.
You know, do you guys belong to a local model railroading club?
Yeah, we're on Ron Smith's N-Scale Club on Facebook.
Oh, okay, okay. And by Human City Junction says buy the one that your local club or friends are using, because if you go to a local club and operate it, always this way they can help you. Yeah, he answers that. He says it
Yeah.
this way they can help you.
Yeah.
Mojave Model Railroad Tina says, or build a cheap Raspberry Pi, and a JMRI is free. Then you can control your trains from your phone. Cheaper, but a bit of a learning curve with the
This went
JMRI.
right on the top of my head.
Yeah. The JMRI is pretty. It's not hard to do. It really isn't. It's just that if that's where your talent, if that's like a lot of guys they're all around guys. You know, they'll do everything from soup to nuts. Where there's some me, for instance, I love running my trains. I love building the layout. I love weathering. You know, I love detailing. I love just doing a lot of that. But the electronics, I want something that's
Easy.
reliable and easy. Yes, and easy. And again, I don't do the J. Right, I'm not into the JMRI computer. Run my X list and do this. You know, when we have an operations night here, it's just, you know, I basically say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. I give them switch lists, and you know, we just have fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. The
What
only
would,
go
what would
ahead.
be nice is to hire somebody to come in and put the signals in and put the control units in and then teach us how to use it. That would be cool.
That would be, but that would also
We wouldn't learn anything.
That would be a ton of money too.
that would be a ton of money.
We would not
Yeah.
learn anything.
Yeah. See, she Michelle wants to learn. She wants hands on.
Yeah.
She wants the hands on. That's
Right.
for good.
That's me.
Yeah. Bernard C says, yeah, JMRI and pie sure caught my eye. That's it. That's it.
Is that like blueberry pie and ice cream or something?
Yeah, those are mine. Those are mine. Those are my favorite.
Peach cobbler and peach pie.
That's it. That's it.
Homemade.
I think you're getting off the subject now.
No, that's quite all right. But this husband and wife team, this also correlates, Mike, with the other channels you have, because you're a pastor in a church, an online church. So do you use this to correlate with your other channels on a husband and wife working together? And
What we do on Pastor Michael Nicodemus, that's my personal lifestyle channel.
right,
And that's my life behind the scenes from my ministry.
right,
And we do a lot of things together, such as around the house. And I think that helps people to get to know who we are a little bit better, because my ministry channel is Heart to Heart Refinement School. And there I'm teaching people.
right.
And so I want people to understand who the man is behind the video.
Right. And that it obviously shows. I mean, you guys are like have a great rapport and a very relaxed with each other, and it comes across the video clearly.
I
You
did
know.
a lot of praying for him.
That's another story.
That for the other channel. For the other channel.
Yeah.
I hear you. Let's see here. Human City says that he's saying that he has a computer background that definitely helps, but I think network experience over computer that I found more valuable from issues I ran into. Yes. He says, I just looked up Nicodemus. Is that your given name? If so, it really is interesting that you became a pastor with that name.
Yes, that is. And also, Michael also comes from the Bible. Michael was an archangel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
And I've got a pretty traumatic story from a railroad perspective. In 2002, I was involved in an accident that stopped my career from the railroad, where a whiplash injury from the run-in from the train actually broke my neck, and it took my life through 7 near-death events.
Wow.
So you can see that on Pastor Michael Nicodemus too.
You were rear-ended?
Think of a train, and everybody that's watching this knows what trains are. And think of a 2-mile train with a DP, which is a distributed power unit on the back of it. And you got 2 locomotives pulling up a 3% grade, and they drop their power. But you've got a loaded coal train, 135 loaded coal train, and DP shoving into those dead locomotives starting up a hill. What do you think is going to happen?
Yes.
The engineer that was running the train that day, he reclined and had some earphones in, was playing in a band, but he had to memorize the song. And he asked me, he says, "Can you, take care of the whistle crossing for me?" And we were setting to do a 2-hour pull up this steep grade, and I said, "Sure." So my head happened to be turned to the right when the run-in action happened, and as soon as it happened, it stabbed my neck, and then we broke in two. And it broke the knuckle inwards with that kind of force, and that's what it did to the optical nerve bone structure at the top of my neck. So, and adrenaline took over, and I changed the knuckle out and got the train back together and delivered the train to the home yard and tied it down, and went home and woke up the next morning stiff as a board and couldn't hardly move. And things gradually got worse over a couple months, and flatlined at home 3 or 4 times, and then flatlined in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, and woke up in a hospital in and out about 5 months later, paralyzed. So trains are fun on the model train layout, but they're not no fun if they're defective.
It's a lot of hard work. I myself, I worked for the New York City Transit Authority for 31 years, and yeah, it's a little different on a model railroad than it is getting up at 3:30 in the morning on a frigid cold day and working. So I could expand. So you were actually paralyzed.
Yeah.
And now I see you're getting up and down and you're moving, and praise be to God.
And
Tremors.
and tremors.
So
I've got a condition called monoclonic jerking, which is a seizure-related activity, which the doctors diagnosed it as respiratory event delayed arousals. And the damage is to my brainstem, which controls your atomic system. And so the brainstem was injured, and it at night when I get ready to go to bed or I'm laying down trying to watch TV in my recliner, my body will start jerking because I'm not breathing. And so that's what goes on. And then if I get really emotionally or physically exerted, I'll start shaking, and my hands will start shaking.
And then I have to
yeah. So the railroad came in, and they looked at the locomotive that was on the lead locomotive, and it had a defective computer system in the traction motors. And I think a lot of people that are watching this knows what traction motors are in locomotives. And so there was also a record that says that locomotive wasn't supposed to be online as a leader. And so you've got a defective locomotive, and then they went out and they found the knuckle that had the inward brake on it, and that was a big red flag against the railroad. And so we didn't even have to go to court. They said, let's settle it.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough way to get money. I don't care.
That's a bad way to get money.
Exactly right. Well, I'm glad to see that you are up and around and moving, and praise God that you are. And
that's why I became a pastor after that event.
Sure. And Tina Mojave Model Railroad says, Michelle, you are truly an inspiration. And now you set the bar for women appearing on a little show very, very hard, very high. So it's going to be a tough act to follow. She's right. She's absolutely right. You truly are, Michelle and Michael. But, Michelle, truly, you really both are very much. I'm so glad that I saw that one video in that I was able to get you guys on. Bernard C says, my wife and I, many decades ago, ran an N-gauge and hoped she'd come back to it. It's bigger now.
Well, Bernard, if you get a YouTube channel, you make sure to let us know and we'll subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of YouTube channels, the YouTube channel that Michelle and Mike have, notice how I said Michelle and Mike. I was saying Mike and Michelle, but now it's Michelle and Mike. They have a YouTube channel called M&M Model Railways, and you can go check. How many subscribers do you have?
22. I haven't looked lately, but
And we've only been on 6 months.
yeah, we've only
Okay.
been on 6 months.
Let's see if we can get their YouTube channel spiked up there for and they're very entertaining, guys. Just don't subscribe just to become a sub. Go and check them out because they really have an interesting and very informative channel.
Hey,
And
Bill, you want to know what the most enjoyable part about doing videos for the general public is?
sure, what is it?
The surprise unboxing videos, because I order stuff, she gets to open it, and I don't tell her what I order.
It's like Christmas.
And her expression when she orders stuff,
That is exactly that's the one I saw when you introduced it. You said just got a box today and wait for Michelle to come home from work so she can open it. And when you came in and he said, "Look what I have on," and you looked and you were like, "Oh, it's like Christmas all over again."
And I know, and N scale stuff is just, I love small stuff anyway. And it's like, oh, it's so cute.
but it's one thing to open something that's inexpensive, but when she sees something that she thinks that I spent over $300 for, and we could have spent that money somewhere else.
But I'm happy about it. That's the point.
God bless you. God bless you.
It's like, oh, cool, we got it. We got our DCC. It's like,
A lot of wives would not like their husband spending $300 or $400 at one time on their train layout.
no, but I get excited. It's like, what did you get? What did you get? I can't wait to get to DCC because it makes sounds and I can't wait.
Yes.
Our controller is on back order though, and I guess a lot of them are. That's the hardest part of it.
Right? 'Cause
Yeah. Yeah. Right now on we're coming at the tail end of we can't mention the word because YouTube or whatever, they get all excited. That virus that was going around anything. But a lot of things in the model train world, in the hobby stores and especially the online hobby stores, and even if you could get into a store, a lot of things are like flying off the shelves. A friend of ours, Steve Atwell, Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop, he says it's like he gets his stuff, his shelves stocked, and then once they're stocked and he puts the word out there, they fly off the shelf. So I myself have been trying to cross over with NCE to radio control, and it's like you don't know when it's going to happen. Mike, a split rock. I'm just going to go split rock because I can't do the 3-3 because I'm going 3-3-3-3. So split rock. We all know who you are. Here's a question, Michael. As a pastor, do you feel you can use your communication skills for video on your channel? That's a good question.
Which channel are we talking about?
I would assume this one. I would assume the M&M.
M&M Model Railways. Well,
Yeah.
I try to keep my my ministry off of my hobby channel because I don't want to turn away people that would not normally want to be preached to.
Proselytized. I can understand.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not a preacher. I'm a heart refinement specialist. There's a big difference between the two of them.
Right.
And so my communication skills are very vibrant on this channel. But if you look on the wall behind me, there's a scripture that Michelle wrote out, and it's Matthew 5:14-16. It basically says, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden.
Right.
Okay, so I do a lot of my videos from there, and they can see that. But I never thought about maybe reading that scripture. And another thing that I do on my personal lifestyle channel is I always say, May God bless you. May his face shine upon you. And may Jesus always bring you joy. I never say that at the end of my model railway videos. There's a reason why for that. It's not the place. I hope that answered his questions.
Okay, that's good. That's a good answer. I hear you. That's it. Split Rock says again. He says, "No, not preaching, but you have He says, which is true. He says, but you have communication skills that many YouTubers would envy. You could do voiceovers for the rest of us. No stuttering and such."
That kind of reminds me. That's a good thing you pointed that out. One of the things that I do on my Heart to Heart Refinement School channel is I write the books that I actually teach from, and a lot of the pastors that are actually on YouTube, they're preaching from the Bible. It's hard to follow those people.
They're not teaching.
So what I do is I write the journal book, I make it available for people to buy, and I offer the courses for free on YouTube. And then I read word for word from that book, and I put the slides on the screen, and I read from it. And then it helps me, because I also have a brain injury, but it helps me to be able to stay focused on what I'm talking about, to be able to teach my people heart refinement. Heart refinement is not religion, okay? It's completely different. It's completely different. But if they don't have a process to follow from a spiritual standpoint, and they're listening to a religious pastor preach to them, they're not going to learn. They're not going to want to learn. They're going to feel like it's a religious point of view, and they're not going to take it as advisement into their heart.
Yeah.
So my communication skills are in such a way that I'm reading it off of the screen, and I think that's a benefit to people, because I was offering this as a payment. People would have to pay me to take those courses, and God says, Michael, I am a free gift to people. Michael, you are a free gift to people. So that's why I do it for free on YouTube.
There you go. Eric Hall says Ron of Ron's Trains and Things started out like this. He's a pastor also, Ron Marsh, and knows how to communicate as a pastor. And Ron now has 40,000 subscribers and moving. Mojave Model Railroad says, do you find working at N-Scale tougher as you get older? I love N-Scale, but getting you're not getting too old, Tina. You're like a fine wine. Fine wine. You're aging gracefully.
Gets better in time.
I was looking for my magnifying reading glasses.
Yes.
And the thing that I find the hardest is the plug and play system. They have these little itty bitty wires, and you have to plug them into a really itty bitty hole. And that's almost impossible for me to do that. So I've got this light down there, and I've got the light on my lap, and I got my reading glasses on, and I still can't. You got to push it and put it in there.
So we work together, because my eyes are a little better. I can see closer, and we work together that way.
That's a tough job, is to try to, as older as you get, to try to make it work.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I myself find myself, when I'm doing up close work, I take my glasses off so that I can see, believe it or not, I can see a lot better up close. And then as I cannot, as it's getting out of focus, I still think I have my glasses on. So I go to reach for them, and they're not on my face. And I'm like, okay, it's time to bring out the magnifying headset, and put it on with the lights and the 16,000 candle watt light it all up. And, even the space station sees it on Staten Island, and they want to know what's going on.
Well, Bill, one of the things I like to tell everybody is that we actually do step build videos. So I want people to know how many steps it goes into build the video. So on my YouTube channel, you go to the playlist on phase 1, you're going to see step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah,
but you're also going to see our unboxing videos as the number of video or unboxing videos that we have on there.
So it's real life.
So it's real life, and basically we have so many videos. We actually have videos all the way
Till June.
presently right now into July.
Oh, July.
And I know here it is April, but when you make that many videos, you're trying to do a long time YouTube channel, you have to build them in advance.
Yeah, true. Very true. Tina from Mojave Model Railroad says, as soon as they give access to the Terminator eye replacement, I'll go back to N scale for all those, the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, Split Rock says, I have not added any lights to my magnifying headset as of yet. You know, but let me I'd like to ask you, what do you guys find is the best thing about model railroading?
Just building it together and using our minds together and using each other's skills.
I think for me, it's building the YouTube channel because we get to actually rewatch our own videos. And we have a big screen TV in our living room, and we get to actually see our build or our train running on our own big screen TV. I think that's the biggest highlight for me, is because when the kids come over, we can say, hey, check out what we did. And the oldest son was over here, and he says, you need to break apart your videos and do time lapses of all your videos put together in like a 30-minute video. And he says, a lot of people would watch that, just how it all has been put together. And I says, I'll take that under advisement when I get this one done.
Right. That's a good point. That is a good point. What is the worst thing that you do not like about model railroading?
That's hard because I love it all.
Good.
Baby on the floor, but it's like in the beginning with the styrofoam, it's like that styrofoam ended up everywhere. But I don't know. There's not really nothing I don't like about it.
I think for me, the thing that I'm not looking forward to is the signals. You know, the block signals is. I want to run it as realistic as I can. And in the past, I did not run DCC. I did not run on signal indication. So that's the thing that I'm not looking forward to, but it's the thing that I want to do to bring it into modern era.
Right.
In real life. And I'm looking at what's available for N scale as far as signals go. Yeah, if I want to program everything through a computer system and then touch my screen to change out a signal, there's got to be a better way to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to plug my computer and I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Midwest Model Railroad, Steve Atwell. Welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you so much for joining in and giving a question. He says that Gary never thought he would do N scale and even complained about it when he started. Now, when he sees HO scale stuff, he jokes about how huge it is. I think it's all about what you are used to doing and working with.
Yeah.
What Split Rock wants to know, what do you use to create your videos, such as cameras and editing software?
Well, I use my phone, and then I have a tablet that I use. So the tablet I can mount it on a tripod, and then I use my phone because I can zoom in on it. But I'm finding out we have a night vision scene that we're working on. So I'm going to invest in probably GoPro or something like that. And then we want to do something tiny because we want to make it look like our viewers are down in the level of the cars.
Okay.
And then I also want to do like something, helicopter views, because I do a lot of that. And then sound, try to find sound. Like when we're doing a helicopter view, I want to be able to make it sound like there's a helicopter, and I can't find that in the YouTube library for free, and I don't want to pay for it because then I have to pay for a monthly subscription.
Right.
So
I also came up with an idea. It's like we live around some rivers, so I thought maybe if we could go to a quiet place and record the river sounds, that's free. So
yeah.
But then I'd have to figure out how to record audio and then put that into a video.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve, the name of their YouTube channel is M&M Model Railways. M&M Model Railroad.
And Michael and Michelle.
Michael or
Michelle.
Michelle and Michael. Mojave Model Railroad, Michelle asks, Michelle, there isn't a lot of women in this hobby. Are there any other women in the hobby you follow that inspire you?
Nope. I'm a tomboy, so I grew up with trains with my dad. My brothers have trains now. They're all older. I've had friends with trains, so I'm just a tomboy.
Okay. Okay. So you guys live in Colorado. Have you gone up to Greeley to the museum to see their layout?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Isn't it?
And I've been to the Omaha Train Museum. That's even better. But the Greeley one is just spectacular.
I'll tell you a little secret about the Greeley Museum. When they found out I was an engineer, they says, "Why don't you come and volunteer up here with us?"
Yeah, they took it backstage and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
They took me backstage, underneath it, and everything, and that's kind of where I learned about the signals and the computer system, and then the decoders inside the locomotives. I think about the N scale, and I think about opening up a locomotive to put a decoder in there, and I can't hardly see right now normally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with time, everything takes time. I mean, it will come. Do Human City Junction wants to know, do you guys know Michelle Kempner?
No.
She's up at Greeley.
Uh-huh.
She's the director, I believe, at the Greeley Museum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
Michelle.
bet you we could find out and meet her if we were.
Yeah, she's a very nice woman. I understand. Very nice woman.
I mean, we might have met her then, but we didn't know her name. Maybe,
Right. True.
You know, those friends that are watching us right now, they can also find us on Facebook. Some of those women out there that are in the hobby, they could actually friend Michelle on Facebook and start talking to her about the hobby and say, hey,
I also put my paint by numbers on there. I like Black Panthers, so I've been doing step-by-step videos. So
okay. For you guys that came in really towards the end of this, we have to say that in the beginning, Michelle is a model railroad enthusiast. She actually wants to make tunnels in the wall. She absolutely she's biting at the bit to expand.
I want to build a reservoir.
She wants to build bigger and bigger. And
I've been camping since I was like before I could walk. So I want to build a reservoir.
She wants
and a train that goes around it.
The train that goes around it.
So it kind of fits my past,
Yeah, listen, that's most of us on the railroad. That's most of us who do model. We try to do some things that are that remind us of our where we remember seeing a railroad, how we grew up with it, what we saw.
That's exactly what we're doing. So
right, we want to replicate it.
And I've been fishing since I was little, so we have a river and fishermen, and so yeah.
Do you like to fly fish? Are you a fly fisherman?
No, just regular fish.
Just regular.
I like to river fish better because it's a lot of action.
Yes.
And, I mean, I like to lake fish, but river fishing is just more fun.
Yeah. I like to fly fish because it's actually an activity that you're doing instead of just drowning fish.
Yeah.
And that's why there's 6 fly fishermen on my river here.
Yeah. Okay. Mojave Model Railroad. Tina says there was a channel called The Weathering Women who does awesome weathering, but she hasn't done much lately. Human City Junction says, I have too many scales to do, but there are things that I love about all of them. Yeah. Let's see. Technically, the museum is not called the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. Yeah, I know, but that's just something we do. And stuff like that. But so now are we almost with the canyon flats? How close are we to, if you can use the word completion?
We still have a little ways.
Here's the completion on there. She tells me I've got to finish canyon flats before I start extending. So she's in control of that. But what I would like to do is I would like to build the bench work for the rest of it and then put my track down and then do the phases. But on my YouTube channel, I want to do the steps of each phase and put them in place.
Yeah, but I told him, I said, finish this one first because your mind's going to be going back and forth and you're going to make mistakes.
Well,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
I could see that. I know that when I built my layout, I did that in increments. You know.
yeah, but I don't know. I just think if we finish this one, then we can play for a while. I want to play.
I love your enthusiasm, Michelle. I love it.
I can't finish it completely because in order to take it what I call west, which is north on my wall, I've
Right.
got to clear out the whole north side or the west side of this layout in order to connect my track into the rest of the layout.
Right.
So I can't complete the whole thing until I start building it around.
I mean, I know I'm anxious to build mine, but I'm patient. So
Split Rock wants to know any thoughts on joining or building a Fremo N scale group or being part of a Fremo N scale group.
We joined Ron.
Guys who have guys like say you have a neighbor that's a couple of miles away. He built a N scale module, and then you guys get together. It's transportable. He can bring it to your house and hook it up to yours. You know what I'm saying? They call them Fremos.
Oh, okay.
Free modulars.
I get what you're talking about. No, we don't really have anything like that. In order to do that, we would have to connect with them and find out what their modular track layouts are and how far out from the front fascia their tracks would connect.
No, of course.
Yeah. So that's tough, but you know what? That would be a pretty cool group to be able to involve in.
Yeah.
But then you take your 2 foot by 4 foot module, load it up, take it over there, play with it for a couple hours, and load it up and bring it back. That's a lot of work.
yeah.
Steve Atwell from Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop says, if you're thinking about that Fremo N scale, I would make sure there are others in your area that are also doing it. That makes absolute sense. Mojave Model Railroad Tina, she says, my layout started at 2 feet by 5 feet sections. Now it's a U-shaped, 16 feet by 14.
Wow.
Whoops.
Hey, we might go further. We'll see. I might get some ideas, like a top.
Yeah.
Never know.
Midwest Steve Atwell says, I have a 12 foot by 16 foot N scale layout of my apartment. Maximum that can fit. He built it. He lives in New York City. He has his hobby shop is in Missouri, but in New York City he has an apartment and he has a shelf layout on top of it. So N scale. So it's pretty good. Hey, listen, I want to thank both of you, Michelle and Michael, for being on our show tonight on Who's Big Bill Talking To. We've been talking to Michelle and Michelle of M&M Model Railways. That's the name of their YouTube channel. I understand that you have about 27 or 28 subscribers now. It jumped up from 22 to 27 or 28. You should go check it. Hopefully in the near future we'll try to get that million subscribers thing. But anyway,
1,000, but
1,000's not. I just hit 1,000. It took me only 9 years, but I got there. But I don't do videos very often. So anyway, that's on my private channel. I don't do them.
Speaking of videos, the viewers might want to know we do videos every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay, that's good to know. So their channel is Mojave. Tina says, I love these two. You just have great energy. And I have to concur with you, Tina. They do. Again, thank you guys so very, very much for being a part of this.
No, thank you.
It was my pleasure. It was certainly my honor to have you and introduce you to the model railroading community as a husband and wife team, and seeing that you two can work together so peacefully and amicably together is so good, and it's such a blessing. It really is, and it shows. You guys, the love that you have for each other and the love for the hobby, it comes through. It really does. Very vivacious, very energetic, and very inspiring. As Tina,
he's my soulmate.
Amen to that, girlfriend. Amen to that. I just want to thank you. And tomorrow night, just so you guys know, on April 8th, 2021 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Johnny's Train Talk Show. That's where Johnny's going to come into your living room, just like we're doing now. But here's the catch. You guys can be a part of the show. You guys, if you have a camera and a good internet, you could get on and be with him, and you can bring and brag anything you want, or if you want to talk about any kind of problem, switching problem, switch, electrical, whatever it is, you can come in. Also has a Q&A as well. So with that said, one last thing, Late Night Model Railroading says, sometimes I wish my wife was into the hobby, but then I remember how stubborn she gets, and I'm glad it's only me in the basement. Well, to each his own, Late Night Model Railroad. I want to extend my apologies again to Sir Rod Stewart and to Mr. Lionel Strand. We were supposed to have you on tonight after Michelle and Mike, Nicodemus, M&M Railways, but we ran out of time. Hopefully we can get Sir Rod Stewart and Lionel Strand on next week. As of right now, we have nobody scheduled for next week, but we will have a special show preview dedicated to the community because we want to ask you guys some questions. From Who's Big Bill Talking To. So next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back on, but I'll be asking you the questions because we want to get some answers from you guys to see where we're going. So with that said, I want to say thank you again to Michael and Michelle Nicodemus for being a part of this. You guys be well, be safe, but most of all, you be blessed, and we'll see you guys on the radio. Amen.
You're welcome, Bill. Thank you.